likely that we would see those tropical storm force winds starting a few hours later, closer to 2 or 3 a.m. Those winds will then continue through midday Friday. Yes, I said Friday. So late Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, though they could potentially still be around as late as midnight on Friday evening. We also still have the potential for hurricane force winds for a few hours Friday morning, as well as isolated tornadoes throughout this event. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the water risks. The first issue that I would like to highlight is the fact that the National Weather Service predicts that we may have anywhere from 10 to 15 inches of rain from Ian, with the bulk of that occurring from Wednesday evening through Thursday evening. This rain on its own will likely cause flooding issues in many areas of our county. In addition to the rain, we are already in the midst of a seasonally higher tide cycle. And on top of that, we can expect an additional coastal storm surge from Ian of up to 4 feet, maybe even 5 feet in some local areas. This will be a particular concern at high tide on the Atlantic coast, in the Intracoastal Waterway and its connected waterways, as well as Crescent and Dead Lake areas. The highest tides expected on the Atlantic coast will be at around 11 a.m. and p.m. on Thursday and midday on Friday. The highest tides that we're going to expect on the Intracoastal Waterway will be around 4 a.m. and p.m. Thursday and 5 a.m. and p.m. on Friday. Flagler County governments, including all 5 of our municipalities, have been hard at work preparing for the approach of Ian. Many people have asked for a weather-related point of reference to compare the potential flooding to. The best example that the Weather Service can really give us at this point in time is 2017's Hurricane Irma. If your home or business was flooded then, you can likely expect to see similar flooding with Ian as well. However, because every storm is different, please don't assume that Irma's lack of flooding in your neighborhood means that you're in the clear. Sandbagging sites, some of which have been in place since Sunday, will cease operations this evening. We would like to thank our county agencies, city agencies, volunteers, and Sheriff's Office for their support of these operations. County staff, Flagler school staff, State Health Department, volunteers, as well as the Sheriff's Office have been working very closely for the last couple days and will continue to do so tomorrow to make sure our evacuation centers and shelters are prepared for eventual evacuations. This morning, we issued a press release sharing that all residents east of I-95 should be prepared to evacuate. At this time, we are comfortable being more specific and reducing that recommendation to be prepared to evacuate to those residents and businesses in mobile homes and RVs countywide, Zone A, our barrier island from Flagler Beach to Marineland, the following low-lying areas in Zone B: the Bulowville neighborhoods east of John Anderson Highway, and the Palm Drive and Lambert Avenue neighborhoods. And also in our Zone F area, which is the area surrounding and near Crescent Lake and Dead Lake to include Daytona North, those non-elevated homes. At this time, we have not ordered an evacuation, but we want residents living in those areas to be prepared no later than tonight, as we will likely order evacuations tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, once we solidify the evacuation and shelter opening times, the Emergency Operations Center will announce the final areas under the evacuation order and the time which shelters will officially open. We always recommend that your first choice for an evacuation destination be a friend or family member's home or a hotel or motel outside of the area being evacuated. However, if needed, shelters will always be available when we order evacuations. The general population shelter will be at Bunnell Elementary School, and our special medical needs shelter will be at Rimfire Elementary School. However, we do not currently have a definite opening time, though it will coincide with the evacuation order once issued. Please do not go to the shelters until we make our announcement tomorrow for the official evacuation order and shelter opening. Flagler County EOC's call center will remain open tonight until 5 p.m. and will be open 24 hours a day starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, and can be reached at 386-313-4200. Or even better, visit our website at flaglercounty.gov/emergency, or look for Flagler EOC on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I cannot say it enough. Please complete your preparedness activities tonight, and if you live in a mobile home, or recreational vehicle or any identified areas within Zone A, B, or F, please be prepared to evacuate as early as tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Please welcome Flagler County Sheriff Rick Manfrey. Rick Staley, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's all right, not a problem. So I'm Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley, and the message that I have for the community is I want you to know that your sheriff's office is prepared to respond to whatever Hurricane Ian throws, or in this case maybe dumps at us. And starting tomorrow night, every deputy sheriff is on 12-hour shifts with days off canceled. Our high water vehicles and boats are ready to respond in the event of emergency or rescues that need to be done. Our professional support employees will be supporting Flagler County government with their 24-hour phone hotline, and of course our dispatchers are on 12-hour shifts also with days off canceled. So we are ready, prepared, and trained to serve you. In the event evacuations are ordered, it is likely that some type of curfew will also be ordered at some point, starting to coincide with evacuation. So my message to the community is please cooperate with our deputy sheriffs in the event those orders do occur. To the criminal element, don't try to prey on our community. I have plenty of bed space for you at the Green Roof Inn or the county jail. And just because there might be a lot of rain, you'll just go to jail wet. We'll still arrest you. Thank you.
Again, my apologies to Sheriff Staley. I would like to introduce School Superintendent Kathy Mittelstead.
Good afternoon. Thank you. On behalf of the school district, the school board members, the district staff, and all our leaders, I'd just like to appreciate the coordinated efforts that we have put in place to make sure our community is taken care of as our county prepares for the storm. We have announced the school closures for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Those were released earlier today so our families can make appropriate preparations. If and when we do stand up the shelters and they are needed, please make sure that you are reviewing the rules and expectations as you visit our school campuses to make sure that we are taking care of each other in a safe and fair manner. Once again, Flagler School stands ready to support our community as we work together through this storm. Please be safe and thank you.
Good afternoon. Let me speak on 2 points, one from common sense and one from a bit of passion. The City of Palm Coast is working with our county partners to keep our community safe, of course. Prepare your homes and families. Please listen to emergency officials on how to stay safe. Have a week's worth of supplies for each member of your household. No garbage collection this Thursday or Friday countywide. Don't walk or play in swale water as it may not be safe. Stay updated at palmcoast.gov. That's the common sense. Let me explain the passion that I've seen today. I have driven through our neighborhoods throughout the community, and I'll tell you what I have seen. I have seen a City of Palm Coast and county staff that is well experienced, managing an extremely complicated situation at the highest level. You should have great confidence in all of your city, municipalities, and county. Furthermore, I have seen residents of our cities and county reaching across their driveways to lend a helping hand to each other. Make no mistake, our community can come together and will come together to help each other get through this. Look at what we can all accomplish when we work together. Thank you.
Flagler Beach City Manager William Whitson.
Thank you. I echo everything my colleagues have said before. Flagler Beach is part of the team. We are very experienced, and our staff has been making preparations since several days ago. I have 3 specific messages for the people in Flagler Beach. Number 1, if you're in a low-lying area, if you're on the barrier island, please consider the evacuation order seriously. We anticipate this to be a very water-oriented event, and I would classify it as Irma +2. But we will see what Mother Nature has to throw at us, and we will handle whatever Mother Nature has to throw at us. Second message is that as far as the bridge and the evacuations are concerned, the westbound lanes will always be open. The issue will be coming back eastbound onto the island. You'll need to specifically bring identification so that we can get you through, and we will make every effort to keep the bridge open unless sustained winds go above 45 miles an hour. But again, westbound always open, eastbound, that's when we will need you to bring your identification if you want to come back onto the island. Would encourage everybody to be safe, listen to all the local emergency management messages, and we will be here on the other side. Thank you.
Benell City Manager Alvin Jackson.
Great evening. Just echo everything that has been said, especially from our emergency manager. In particular, those that are here in the city of Benell, the city will be actually closing the utility office tomorrow at 4. City facilities and offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday. And as everyone has indicated, during the event, especially in Benell, we will have water, lots of rain, and we're encouraging you to please stay in your homes and until this event is completed. And we will have our assessment teams out assessing the damages. And if you have any questions, please go to our website, benellcity.us. Thank you and be safe.
Just before we open any questions, I just really want to reiterate the fact, and I think you saw it just now, we really are one big Flagler County team, whether it's the school district, our constitutional officers like the sheriff, as well as municipalities. We act as one team. That's the whole reason we have an emergency operations center, so that we can all come together and make sure our community is taken care of when we have events like this. So thank you to everybody that's part of this great team.
So just 3 quick questions.
Sure thing.
Tornadoes, can you talk about the likelihood?
Yes, so we do have a threat for isolated tornadoes. So anytime the bands of those hurricane winds come through, and we get the bands of thunderstorms at the same time, they can very likely spawn off tornadoes. So just because you don't necessarily get a tornado warning right away doesn't mean one is not coming. So inherent to hurricanes and the bands from hurricanes, they inherently carry the risk of tornadoes, and sometimes they spin up faster than the Weather Service can actually issue the warning. So definitely want our residents to be cautious of that.
Second, when people realize, I stayed too long, but I really want to go south, and they have places to go, but they need to get on the road, what's the absolute worst thing they could do? At what point is the cutoff that they should not get on the road?
So we will announce, when we do our evacuation announcement, we'll give an estimated initial time where we think the roads will have to be cleared. But we will also, as the storm progresses and we know the time is getting closer, we will do another announcement. So we'll definitely make sure that people are aware of that. We'll very most likely time a curfew with that at the same time, just to initiate that curfew. But that's very fluid, and because we want to make sure that people can get off that do want to get off. But our true recommendation, what we really want our residents to do, if you're in an area that is under the evacuation order, to go ahead and leave immediately. Don't wait and hedge your bets and think maybe we'll cancel it in 5 minutes. That is not going to happen. Once the order is issued, it will not be canceled until after the storm has passed. So we won't scale it back once that has happened. So we really ask, once we make that announcement, that you leave right away, not wait hours to follow that order.
And then finally, in 2016 and 2017 with the previous hurricanes, we had plenty of mutual aid because we were among the few places that were hit severely. This is not the case here. Everybody else is getting hit, and we're alone. As you can see, there's hardly any
Correct.
media.
Yep.
So who, in the worst case scenario, can you rely on for mutual aid other than ourselves?
So the good thing is obviously ourselves, and we have a lot of resources and skills within our county. Obviously, our neighboring counties might be impacted just as bad as us, but the brunt of this storm, it's coming in as a catastrophic storm into the Tampa Bay area, which has significant risk and high population density. So the bulk of the initial first response resources will be heading there from around the state and even around the country. But the good thing is we're part of a statewide mutual aid agreement. Not every part of the state is going to be impacted by this, so there'll be resources available. Again, we may not be number one on the list, but there will be resources available. And then there's also something known as EMAC, which is an Emergency Management Assistance Compact, which is actually a 50-state and territory plus a couple territories contract for mutual aid. So even if the state of Florida's resources are tapped out, we have the ability to request through the state support from other states for the same kind of resources that we typically rely upon inside of our state.
How high are the winds that we might see from this?
So the most likely winds will be tropical storm force, very likely the higher end, so over 58 miles an hour. But we cannot rule out that we would see low end category 1, so in the upper 70s. We cannot rule that out. The Weather Service cannot rule that out yet.
I have a question for Sheriff McCarthy.
That just made me older, Pierre.
You mentioned you're going to coincide curfew with evacuations. Can you clarify that?
Well, that's still under discussion. So if there are evacuation, more than likely there will be a curfew. Exactly what time that would start and what time it would end is still under discussion by the policy group, which will meet again tomorrow. I can tell you that Volusia County has already ordered curfew starting tomorrow night at 8 p.m. till 7 a.m. the following day for the next 3 days. Whether or not we follow that, and that's a county-wide curfew, that's still for the policy group to decide.
Yeah, I was going to ask, would it be for the whole county or this section or the evacuated areas?
Well, we've had some discussion on that already, and that'll be decided tomorrow. You know, we're still waiting to see exactly when this hurricane or tropical storm is going to arrive. And it's been slow, it's sped up a little bit, it went west, it went further east today, so that's why we're waiting for the policy group again to meet tomorrow.
I have a question for Jonathan. As the heavy weather hits, people might get knocked out of their power. Is there a resource maybe through the radio or elsewhere where they can get word straight from the emergency management department?
Yeah, so one of the things I'll almost guarantee will happen with any kind of tropical weather system, and it may be for a minute or it may be for days, is you will lose your electricity. You will lose your internet, you'll lose cell phone coverage for a period of time. So one of the things that we rely on most to help get the message out when some of those things we know are starting to fail in parts of the county is the traditional AM/FM radios. We have a partnership with Flagler Broadcasting, which is the company that owns a handful of radio stations here in Flagler County, primarily on 94.9 FM and 1550 AM. They are our broadcasting partners, and they do focus directly on Flagler County. It is sometimes hard for Flagler County to get attention from the Orlando media market and sometimes the Jacksonville market. Other times not so much, but you know, we are this poor guy. We do have some here, but you know, we get it. We may not have the same size of impact as some of the large cities. So we do have a broadcast partner here in the county where the TVs, not many people have portable TVs anymore with the digital TVs these days. But as my son would say, the old school AM/FM radios, they work, and having a partner that has multiple antennas and multiple frequencies available definitely helps a lot. However, we have tons of media partners that we can stream on the internet. So if your internet is up, you can go to websites, you can stream your Orlando as well as the Jacksonville TV stations, even if your cable is out. But if your internet is still up, or on your telephones. So until that goes down, we have a whole host of media partners that work with us. But when in doubt, AM/FM still works.
So in 2017, FPL left us hanging a week without power. Do you have any assurances this year that we won't be left last on the list?
They will always go to the highest priority areas first. And even within our county, they prioritize certain types of facilities, like the hospital, like critical facilities, like fire stations, police stations, things like that. So we do have a great partnership with FPL. They will be in the Emergency Operations Center with us for the duration, and we will help prioritize those areas with them. But you know, They cover a large swath of the state. They are by far the overwhelming majority power provider in the state, and they are probably going to have impacts in many areas of their service territory. But having that relationship, having them in the EOC with us, will help us share the information. They'll see what is happening in our community and be able to appropriately prioritize.
I have a question for Sheriff Fleming, was it?
Oh, we just about hit all the names of the prior sheriffs now.
For residents who might be physically incapable of getting shutters up, are there any resources through the FCSO where they might be able to get some assistance doing that in the next couple of days?
Any what kind of assistance?
Assistance getting stuff like shutters up and just getting their house in order to restore.
So I would recommend that they contact Flagler Volunteers, and Jonathan, you may have their phone number, but that would be what I would suggest. We're very busy now, and we're only going to get busier, so that will really stretch our resources.
If folks that have those kinds of needs while the time is rapidly running out, they just call the main EOC call center line 313-4200. We can partner with Flagler Volunteer Services and see if they have time and availability to do that at this point. Again, it's to do, it's volunteers and availability, and shutters, unfortunately, typically are quite heavy and take quite a bit of lifting. But that group has bent over backwards to muster volunteers for us. They did, for some folks who couldn't get sandbags on their own, were homebound. They actually have been delivering since Sunday sandbags to some of their homes. Julie?
If there are no other questions, thank you everybody for coming.